and hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you. It is time. It is evening prayers for June 18th, 2020. It is a beautiful, glorious Thursday evening. Been over listening to Jamie Lula and Gary Lynn Floyd, better known as Floyd Lula, doing a concert over on another page there, and I encourage you to check that out. That's the Central Coast Center for Spiritual Living, and our dear friend Reverend Elizabeth Rowley is serving there right now. Reverend Elizabeth has been on this program a couple of times, so fun catching up with everybody over there, and great being here with you. Yes, Leandro, the concert was fabulous, and thank you for being here as well. So good to see you. So, folks, I want to dive in. I want to determine, how do I dive into this tonight? I don't want to dive into that. I want to dive into this. Everybody know what this is? This is the Abundance book by John Randolph Price. And in the midst of it, there is this great 10-day, it's a 40-day practice. It's basically 10 affirmations. And every day for 40 days, you write out the affirmation and then journal about whatever comes forward. And I've used this practice over and over and over in my life in so many different ways and so many different times. There was a point where I think I'd done this 40 days, 5 days straight, 5 times straight. Or no, I did it for over a year at one point. Anyway, point is that these practices that Science of Mind teaches is just amazing. It's just great. And I love this one because it gives me, it's a journaling, it's a prosperity, it's all kinds of stuff rolled up into one. So I wanted to read one of these for you here tonight and then just move right into a prayer around prosperity and abundance and all the good that is in our lives. And I want you to know that I want to remind you this is a program about prayer. So send your prayer requests, revbriz@spiritevolving.com, and get those working on. We'll get those this prayer work going on your request. So please do that. Okay, just listen. Let yourself close your eyes, relax, just listen, and I'll move directly into a prayer from here. When I am aware of the God self within me as my total fulfillment, I am totally fulfilled. I am now aware of this truth. I have found the secret of life, and I relax in the knowledge that the activity of the divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creative energy, which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am in the flow. In the flow of this experience of life, in the flow of this one divine wholeness, this oneness that is revealing itself through all life. In the flow of knowing that there is only one power, presence, and intelligence that's operating on this planet, that's operating as all of the entire universe and beyond. Through the known and the unknown, in the places that we see and in the places that appear dark, in the good and in what we label as not so good, there is all God. The oneness of life that is breathing and having its being as my life, as the lives of everyone I encounter, everyone across this entire planet. In fact, a divine emanation of God's great gift to humanity, of God's creative power, of God's creative process. So we each bring a unique set of gifts and skills and talents to this thing called life. We each bring a unique way of being to this thing called life. Oh, and I am grateful to witness the amazing ways that so many people this day are showing up in support of life, in support of a new paradigm of living, a new paradigm of being on the planet, a new way of connecting and communicating, of being in spiritual community and being in community. There is a revelation that is happening. And along with that comes this great understanding that we are forever in the abundant flow of God's great gift, that the prosperity we seek in our lives is as near as the very next breath, for it is but a thought away. It is but knowing and being in that place of knowing that we are forever uplifted, fulfilled, sourced, and funded by this renewable resource that we call God. There's no lack of money or resources, no lack of creativity or opportunity. There is an absolute abundance of all things, and it is in awakening to that abundance that we experience prosperity. The concept of prosperity, the idea of a prosperous life where all needs are met, where all needs are absolutely fulfilled. So I claim for each that hears these words a deep sense of knowing that wherever there is a perception of need in your life, then the answer is God. The answer is to open to the divine flow, to stand in that place of knowing that God's got this, that there is that divine aspect of finances, of prosperity, of money flowing into our lives in every moment, moment by moment by moment. And in this moment, I claim for myself a greater experience of that. I claim for each one listening a greater experience of that divine flow, of that knowingness that we live as the flow, as the divine, as the expression of prosperity and abundance and finances in the world. See, God's operating as all of this, and it is up to us. It is our calling, our opportunity to say yes to this truth, to say yes and recognize I am an abundant expression of God. I am affluent. I am prosperous. I do live in an opulent universe, and I claim for myself all the good that I may embody, all the good that I may believe into my life, knowing there is always more than enough, that God is the absolute source, the fuel, and the funds necessary to bring forth the mighty vision for each of our lives. And so knowing that everything that comes forward into our lives come forward exactly as it's necessary, I claim now a greater sense of the abundance, of the financial piece, of the money piece, of the prosperity piece for everyone that hears these words. A deep sense of knowing that it's all happening just as it must. And that as we create a greater vessel, as we create a greater opportunity for God's good, for God's financial abundance to pour in, then it does so. We limit God in our humanness by claiming we're not enough, we're not playing big enough. And so I claim for each a sense of saying yes to a bigger vision than ever before, but saying yes to the big projects, saying yes to the big opportunities, for that fulfills itself and brings into our lives more and more of everything necessary. More and more of everything necessary to propel us, to pull us, to move us into a place of receptivity, into a place of saying, yes, I see, I feel, I know, I profess, I affirm, and I claim for myself all of God's abundance, all of my good, all of the greatness that I am here to express and be a part of and share and reflect and promote and magnify and amplify. I claim for each a deep sense of yes, of being the open channel, of being the open vessel through which God's great abundance flows, and knowing we are each absolutely necessary to this evolutionary concept of complete and total financial prosperity. For myself, for everyone involved, for everyone across this planet. Life is good. And I am grateful to know this truth, grateful to be a part of all this, but most especially grateful to know God's got all of this. That in the mind of God, this is already a done deal. In the mind of God, all the parts and all the puzzle pieces of the puzzle have already been fit together, and God sees the whole picture. So I am grateful to release this word into the law that must say yes, that is already demonstrating, already operating upon this word, and rest in complete faith and assurance that it is done, that all is well, that God's got this and I'm out of the way. I let go and I let God be God. And if any of this has resonated in any way, please join me in an affirmation of this truth as we say together, and so it is. Mm. And so it is. Thank you, dear ones, for being with me this evening. I appreciate you being here. Now, remember, this is a product of the New Thought Media Network, most positive media network on the planet, and we are so grateful to bring you this programming and bringing all kinds of great other programming as well. Remember, we've got a couple of really cool concerts coming up in the very near future here. Jan Garrett, J.D. Martin, Harold Payne, three amazing artists all together on two virtual stages, but in one broadcast platform. Be right here on Facebook and on YouTube. That's coming up in just about a handful of weeks here, July 12th. And we also have the week following that, David Alt and Karen Drucker together again for the first time in a long time, bringing us an evening of music on July 19th. These are free concerts put on by New Thought Media Network, part of the Positively Inspiring Concert Series. We look forward and trust you'll have a chance to be with us on those evenings. So until then, folks, until next time, I'll be back tomorrow morning with another edition of Morning Prayers, 8:15 a.m. Mountain Time. Until then, I love you. Peace and blessings. Thanks for being with us tonight. Have a great